So normally we have three. I have two other co-hosts,
Okay.
my fiance and a buddy of mine from way back in the day.
She didn't want to hang out with me.
Yeah, she's like, no, see you later. Yeah,
They're doing all right, but not great. So if they get to the next level, let me know.
back in the day, my first taste, if you will, of protein, I was a muscle milk guy.
Oof.
I even
See you later.
Yeah. So much fun having you here. This has been awesome. I worked on the. We'll have to like queue up a video. I used to be on the muscle milk street team.
Wow.
So
at Merrimack?
I'd be the yeah. Basically, I got the job at Merrimack.
Okay. They
were based in Woburn at the time, and I'd be the guy that would go to like the Boston Marathon with like the muscle milk Jeep, and I'd be like,
what year?
do you want to? This would have been. I graduated 27. This would have been like 2013.
Okay.
2013 through like 2016.
Okay, because now they're owned by Pepsi.
Yes.
And different brand.
Yes.
I started drinking chocolate milk when
Yep.
I was an infant, like most people.
Yes.
And then as I grew up, got more into like the muscle milk powders.
Yep.
Just didn't make me feel great.
Yeah.
Like, what great brand, of course. They crush it and they're massive, but hurt my stomach.
Yeah. What is that hurts? Is it the
Lactose?
It's the lactose.
Lactose, and also it's just very thick, like hard
Yeah.
to process. Ours is thinner, lactose free.
Yep. Oh, hello. Here we go.
Again,
Whoa.
Don't mean to brag.
Yeah.
Don't mean to brag, but lactose free.
Wow. This is and packed with a little bit of a kick of caffeine there, huh?
So the lattes, we have a mocha latte and a vanilla latte, which isn't here. It's hard to find, but it's getting to more and more stores.
Wow.
175 milligrams caffeine. So 2 cups of coffee, like 20 grams of protein, 2 cups of coffee, no added sugar.
Yep. You
And
can't beat it.
It tastes great.
Yeah.
It's 110, 120 calories. Wow. So that's the dream, is finding everything in life that you enjoy.
Yep.
Finding a high protein, low sugar version.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. See, this is super helpful because I am 28.
Okay.
And I am now realizing, when you're young and your dad's
you're
like,
young.
metabolism's going to slow down there, Kevin.
I'm 31.
And I'm
so.
like, yeah, see, you look great.
I mean, you're young. 28's young. 31.
Oh, see.
I mean, honestly, once you get to like, I don't want to spit out ages actually, because
Here we go. Once you get to 40, you're dead. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, I feel like, honestly, I feel better now, and this isn't just a plug for Slate,
Right.
But I genuinely
Ad read incoming.
Seriously, I feel better. I drink 2 Slates a day.
Do you?
I do.
This is see.
Yes.
I have a
It's-
follow-up story to this. So
Okay,
keep going.
But I used to drink lactose-free chocolate milk every day. It had 24 grams of sugar per cup. It had only 8 grams of protein, and so I was getting more calories and less protein. I think a cheat code diet, for me at least, everyone's different, is eat as much and drink as much protein as you can, because it keeps you feeling full, and then you'll end up eating less calories, or at least for me. Again,
Right.
I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a nutritionist, but
I like that.
I lost like 25 pounds when I started drinking Slates every day.
Wow. See, I was doing 2 Slates a day.
Okay.
And then I have I'm going to clip this. I have a twin sister who's a nurse.
Okay.
And she's over our apartment. She's like, what are you drinking? I was like, oh, it's my second one. I was like, I might have a third for dessert. Just going crazy on them. She's all like, doesn't read anything on the can, mind you. Zero product knowledge from the travel nurse.
Okay.
She's like, it's probably not a good idea. Like, you might grow boobs if you have too much blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what's that, estrogen?
There's no estrogen in our
See?
product.
Boom!
That's
Get some.
what's her name? Colleen.
Colleen.
Give me her number. I'll call her.
Yeah,
after.
done.
Because
Sold.
there is, as far as I'm concerned, and I formulated the product with my co-founder and our ops team, there is no estrogen in our product.
Look at that.
And
See?
I think there's a rumor that there is some in soy. So she might have thought, because
that's
we're
where she's
lactose
getting
free.
this.
Yes, because we're lactose free, she might have thought it was soy milk,
Right.
or soy protein.
Because sometimes I'll toss a couple in a funnel. Just
Do it.
drain them back in the morning.
Do it. I mean, I was out in Vegas at a UFC event, and there was a guy there that drank 5 Slates from a bar during the event.
Oh, wow.
And I was like,
Do they sell Slate at a bar?
so it was like a UFC like private event.
Oh,
So 'cause
okay.
we're a partner, so they're
Yes.
they were giving out Slates, and I was like, bro, That's 100 grams of protein. And
He
it's like
slowly
8
turned around
p.m.
and he's like, yeah.
I was like, dude, you're going to look like The Rock tomorrow morning. Do some push-ups or something.
I thought this Slate was just readily available at bars. Guy next to you is like, I'll have a Long Island. You'd be like, oh, just a Slate latte, please.
That would be amazing.
That would see.
Well, tomorrow at the, is that tomorrow? Yeah, at the cocktail party.
Yes.
We're making Slate espresso martinis.
Ooh, let's go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So Slate mocha latte, vodka, and Kahlua. Very simple. Very simple.
I like that. You could potentially do a little White Russian there.
Yeah, it's true.
Hello.
True. Yeah.
Let's go. One, I want to, you just teased it and I want to go back there, but I want to go early days first.
Okay.
Walk us through, you're 32 now.
31.
31.
Don't age. I got a month.
You
all
look
right? I got a month. I
great.
appreciate
So
that.
it's just, I lose my train of thought, Look at a stud like this.
Appreciate that.
It's, walk me through like, okay, you graduate from Northeastern.
Yep.
And you're like, there is a gap in the market. My stomach hurts. Where does this idea come around to? And then walk me through like life cycle,
Yeah. So out of college, I actually started a brand ambassador tech platform with my older brother.
Oh,
who now
here we go.
runs marketing for us.
Yep.
I will always say Ron is smarter than me.
Ron's your brother.
Ron is my older brother. Smarter
Ron.
than me.
Yep.
Runs marketing, like essential to Slate.
Yeah.
We did that for about a year and a half. I was 24, 25 years old. I was like, I don't want to be selling college brand ambassador programs to college kids. Like, I'm like, at this time, Facebook messaging every frat story in the country. Like, sports teams are trying to, they get 30,000 kids on the platform, 500 brands.
Right.
And we're like, oh, tech's hard, man.
Yeah.
Because tech, you're dependent on people code. If you can't
On
code,
the users, basically,
on
right?
the users,
Yeah.
but also the people that are coding the product. I don't know code. Like Ron was
Right.
overseeing them and he was doing a great job, but there were just so many layers and it was going to take us 2 more years to have like a real MVP of the product of
Wow.
what we wanted. And so we ended up selling those assets to a college marketing agency, not like a pop bottle situation, like
Right.
a fail forward in my head.
Yep.
And that's when my co-founder Josh and I came together. He was part of a early tech startup too that raised a bunch of money and they were going through a pivot. So he learned about startups. I learned about startups. We wanted to create something we could hold.
Yep.
That was the key is like, give me,
It's got to be in our hands.
I just want to hold something.
That's such a guy thing to say. It's so accurate.
I just wanted to sell. I wanted to create something that I
Yes.
could like have in my fingers.
Yes.
And
You're like, crypto's cool, but what about like meat?
exactly. Yeah. Let me go sell ice. I don't care.
Yeah, we're the same.
Yeah.
Yep.
So then that's when my co-founder Josh and I realized we were both chugging lactose-free chocolate milk. We were trying to be healthier. You have these kids high sugar chocolate milks.
Right.
And you have your artificial protein shakes.
Right.
There's this big white space in the middle. And if we can fill that white space with something that tastes good, high in protein, low in sugar, brand it more towards the fitness space, shit, we want it.
Right.
And other people
There's
might too.
100%.
So we were like, if this goes well, we'll have free chocolate milk for life and we'll lose weight because we'll replace the high sugar stuff on the market.
Was that the early win? You're like, hey, if we roll a couple of these out, at least for us, we're good to go.
Yeah.
We'll be fit. No more stomach aches.
Literally
We'll look great.
every problem with chocolate milk, we wrote on, at the time I was living in Brighton.
Yep.
Put a whiteboard in my living room. Josh would come over every day. And we wrote down all of the problems with chocolate milk.
Oh my God, I love that.
And we said if we could fix these, we would help give chocolate milk a clean slate. That's where the name comes from.
Get out of here. That's where it comes from?
Yeah. Chocolate milk's clean slate was like the early idea. And still to our core, like the brand's evolved past kind of chocolate milk.
Right.
But to our core, it's still a lot of who we are is great, something that tastes great.
Right.
That is unhealthy, that should be repositioned and enjoyed.
Wow. See, I'm big on how people got their start, but then also the name. And some names are like the Ubers and Amazons, like, but Slate is, Chick-fil-A, why it's called Chick-fil-A?
No, but I'm about to find out.
Just saw just saw this on a podcast with the CEO. The first Chick-fil-A restaurant was just this like mom and pop diner, and they would do overnight, like the late shift for people that only diner open. They would do they'd call it steak chicken, like chicken fried steak, basically.
Interesting.
And they're like, oh, this is the like fillet of chicken, so we're like the Chick-fil-A,
I love it.
And Chick-fil-A was then born.
Like the name, even with the, go back to UFC just because we talk to them all
Yep.
the time, but like the 3 letters, like Dana and the Fertitta brothers always talk about, like they needed those 3 letters.
Yeah.
Like your name is so important. The name can always be changed.
Right.
But your brand is more important a lot of times than your products in the early days.
Yeah,
like you can,
100%.
You can change a product pretty early. We know a brand. We have mutual investors with a brand that started as a frozen burger company.
Yep.
And pivoted. Now they do frozen bowls of like different types of seafood, and they're crushing it.
Wow.
And it was the same kind of like brand identity, and they stood for the same things, like healthier, everyday products, and they just found their product.
Wow, I love that. Yeah. How do you? I'm always fascinated. Like, you get this idea, you got the whiteboard with all the negatives of the, chocolate milks of the world. How do you then go, okay, now we're going to get some sort of chemist to come up with this recipe. And then my biggest question with liquor, so I love shipping and logistics over here. That's a heavy product. How do you, like, in my mind, I'm like, okay, we're going to need day one, 100,000 cans. It's going to be $1 something a can because it's so little cans. Like, how do you get over that hurdle to now be where you guys are now?
So early days, Josh and I, back in the day, we always said that we have all the time in the world. Like, we're still working like side hustle jobs, but let's figure out whatever we can without spending $1 first. And so we did that until about mid 2018. So concept, October 5, 2017 was when I sent Josh the first deck for Sweet Victory drinks. You work hard, you deserve a Sweet Victory. And we'd already been talking about the chocolate milk. And then he came back and said it was the stupidest thing he's ever seen, which he was right. It was a terrible deck.
Rude.
It was, no, Josh, like, again.
Oh, you made a whole pitch deck for this?
Literally for my business partner, Josh. I made an entire pitch
animations on there.
I literally had my brother, who wasn't even part of it at the time, Photoshop like a soup can with it was all black with Sweet Victory drinks. And
oh my God.
That's where it began. I still have that first deck. It's still super shitty. But when we got to mid 2018, we actually went to Stop and Shop, which is one of our retail partners now, and bought a bunch of ingredients. And we went back to my apartment in Brighton. We're like, let's formulate this thing. Threw it all in the blender, tried it, and it was at that moment we said we need to go raise money for a formulator because we weren't physically capable of taking the next step with our knowledge and ingredients and expertise. And that's when we raised our first check. Wow. It was October 2018, went full time because we're like, if someone's going to give us money, we got to die.
Yeah, now it's like, now we're held accountable.
And at that point, formulation began, and we erased all the problems with chocolate milk from the whiteboard and made like 16 different squares. And it was like legal, which was like company formulation, like making sure we're not breaking any laws. It was brand. It was product positioning, which was kind of part of brand. It was recipe. It was like all these different things. And every day they were kind of like chips on the table. And we're like, what are we doing today? Like, what needs to get done? Anything time sensitive? No. But the kind of like the things that we needed to think about every single day were mostly operations. How the F are we going to get this thing made? And financing is making sure we have enough money that when it is time to go, we're ready to go. Yeah,
that is such a good tip because I feel like early days of anything, you get like analysis paralysis. Like in your head, you're like, oof, we got to get FDA approved and get a chemist and how much are cans going to cost and legal. And then it prevents people from even starting.
It's got to go.
Are you like that always? Like if you have not necessarily problems, but like new ventures you're going into, new partnerships, which I want to get into, like the UFC. Do you still do like chips on a board?
Because some founder, like every business is run differently. Some co-founders are kind of out just like being the face of the brand, like just raising cap. Some co-founders are really in the weeds, maybe behind the scenes, and like they're not really the face, and maybe they have a president that's been doing it for Josh and I, we are very operational. Like we run the business, but we're also like raising capital ourselves. So we're kind of like in the weeds, but also like kind of the face of the brand to investors and whatnot. But yeah, in terms of other things that we're involved with right now, it's like 24/7 Slate. Wow, but we love talking to other startups. Like we just love being a part of brands that we think are cool that want to solve a problem that we also think needs solving. Right. Just putting like a different face on a brand, like it's kind of like a Me Too product where it's like someone's doing it, you're just doing it like with a different brand. Those aren't the brands we get excited about. But there's some companies out there that are doing
like
really
disruptors. You guys are like
fun. It's just so fun because it's a lot of these problems are problems that we have too. And so if we can even make a connect, or we can like brainstorm with them to just help solve a problem that exists in our lives or someone in our family or friends' lives, that's just what's fun. That's what gets us going.
I've always wondered, like, where do those early day investors come from? Like, we don't even really have and I might be screwing up the timeline, but you don't really have a product in a can yet, right? It's all formulations in someone from either West Coast or East Coast calculating these things. How do you then get someone to buy in? like, do you refer back to that can of soup pitch deck that's all bedazzled?
It's a great question. So our first lead investor was the guy I talked about in Shark Tank, because I was like our only real investor at the time. And my co-founder Josh met him on a golf course. This is a true story, where he was part of like a member guest, and the person he was supposed to play with got so hammered drunk, it being nervous at like 7 a.m. I don't know if I'm supposed to tell the story, but I don't think the person will ever see it. And so the guy couldn't golf. And so Josh was left without a partner. And so he was just and if that didn't happen, he would have just played. But he was on the putting green. He was just chipping. And Josh used to be a nasty golfer.
Yep.
Now he's all right. He works a little bit too hard. But there was this old guy that came up to him and was like, how the hell you doing that? Like this, and he's just, they started hitting it off because
Shane smoking a flute of cigars.
I mean, he's honestly, it was 7 a.m. He's probably drinking whiskey. Okay, that's this kind of guy. But no, he's great. He's like a grandfather to us now.
Yeah.
But and then they started talking, and Josh, best salesman I've ever met, was just talking him up, and this was before Slate, and the guy said, "Come back when you have the next Facebook."
Whoa.
And about 9 months later, Josh called him because we need money, and said, "I don't have Facebook. I got something else for you." We met this guy at a country club, like you see in movies. Like sat down. He like wanted us to drink a whiskey with him.
Yeah.
Gave him the pitch, and he's like, "Milk, like effing milk, like get the F out of here." And then we had a deck ready to go. Like this was like first real sit down pitch.
Right.
And he basically like tore us a new one. We didn't know enough about anything, which was true.
Right.
But then probably, I don't know, 90 days later, maybe less, he ended up cutting us our first check.
Really?
And that was like one of the first dominoes. The investors, to get back to your question, it's kind of like dominoes.
Right.
Where you meet people, you get people to help validate, and then another person gets involved, and then another person gets involved. But also, man, like the co-founder of Halo Top Ice Cream, like Josh just hit him up on LinkedIn, and his business partner happened to be drinking it. Now Doug's like a friend, and he's an investor. So it's like shit like that, or you just meet people along the way.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
That's
but early
crazy.
days. Yeah, it's literally like, it doesn't matter how big a business gets, like we got a long way to go.
Yeah.
But leveraging personal contacts, like you got to do whatever you can to get ahead.
Right.
Like there's no fucking pride in this industry.
Yeah.
You know?
I love that.
Yeah.
And now you guys have you have your first investor. So you're like, okay, let's go attack the formula. Let's figure out how many cans we're going to get. When do you get your first product, your first tangible, back to like holding that product?
Yeah.
When did that moment happen?
So getting dairy shelf stable in a can is very difficult.
I could imagine. Yeah.
Found that out the old fashioned way.
Milk doesn't like the shelf. Am I right?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So it uses actually a pasteurization process called the retort process.
Whoa.
Retort. And so that's anything that you see in glass or aluminum that has dairy or even non-dairy, like oat milk.
I loosely thought you were calling me slow there.
Like when we talk about this,
he's such a nice guy.
Yeah. It's an interesting term.
Yeah, retort.
If we could change the term,
that would be
we probably
phenomenal.
would. Yes, right. But like the products that are like a retorted product,
right?
Is yes,
it's
true. Is something that is shelf stable in glass or aluminum.
Oh wow!
That has dairy or non-dairy milk in it, and so like coffee products you see.
Yep.
Even like coconut waters, sometimes like those go through the retort process. So it's basically cooking it in a big pressure cooker almost. They're like the size of a submarine, bigger than this room.
Wow.
And there are a bunch of cans in there. And you heat it with water and then you cool it down and then it's shelf stable.
Wow.
So that process is very difficult to do. So to get it into a can for us, the first time we probably had that was early 2019.
Okay. Yep.
But in 2018, we had it in like a little plastic bottle.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when you held that for the first time, was it like a newborn? Or you're like, wow, this is...
Well, I tasted it. It wasn't very good.
Oh, really?
The first time...
No way.
There's a video of our first ever tasting of Slate. And it was in my Brighton apartment. And Josh and I open it. And we take a sip. And I just look at him and I go, way too dark.
Oh.
Like it tasted like cocoa powder.
Oh, wow.
And we were like, shit, this is going to be a lot harder than we thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because at that point, you're just taking like a chemist's word for like, he's probably like, oh, I know it goes well. We just work with blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
And then you're like, yeah, it sounds great.
Yeah. Well, we interviewed a lot of people and they want, and like we still talk to the early formulators and we've changed the recipe a lot since then. Like even the one on Shark Tank that never made it to the market.
Really?
Yeah. We didn't have a final formula then, but it was time to go on.
I've always, the behind the scenes of Shark Tank, like, is it as the application process? I know you can like apply online and all that. Did you go through that standard process or did you know a guy that was like...
are still on a very long NDA with them.
Oh.
So some things we get for life, and they like to remind us.
Wow.
But our experience was a little bit shorter than that. And a lot of it was because of our Kickstarter campaign. So we went on Kickstarter in Feb 2019.
Gotcha.
And we threw actually a party at the Bell in Hand in Boston.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And we like had a projector screen, and our goal was $10,000, and we ended up hitting it at Bell in Hand that night.
Wow.
The first night. Yeah. We ended up doing 50 G's on Kickstarter, which was kind of, again, a domino. And then Whole Foods reached out from that.
Right.
And investors reached out. And so it's like putting yourself in these situations where you can meet people that can help the business.
Yeah. Right.
But Bell in Hand, we sprayed chocolate milk all over the ceiling. Like I felt terrible, but like everyone was celebrating. And that's the first time we ever had cans was at that
It was
party.
at Bell in Hand.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
People are
great.
shotgunning Slate left and right.
Literally. Yeah. It was crazy. And then after that, we're like, all right, we're fucking in it.
Yep.
So.
And that's where are we? 2019?
It was Feb 2019.
And then your first, I heard wholesaler or Whole Foods was one of your first investors
Correct.
as well.
So they didn't invest, but we launched into their stores
Okay.
in 2019. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So Whole Foods, then we ended up launching the business in late 2019 around Thanksgiving time.
Wow.
So we say our birthday is 11/12, November 12th.
Wow. Yep. Look at
So,
you.
yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'm always fascinated. Like, I hear these numbers, I hear the like timeline, and to go from spraying your product on a roof of Bell in Hand to then just a few short years later partnering with the UFC.
Yeah.
How, that's hot off the press, right? That like just happened, right?
Yeah. UFC, I think we announced end of June. So it's been, 2 months?
How did that partnership come about?
So Dana White, the UFC president, he found out about Slate from a friend. Like, long story of how we met him. It was like a colleague of his, and started drinking. His buddy loved it, and then sent some to Dana. Dana loved it, and next thing we know, we're talking to Dana. And
Is this in person?
And Zoom.
Okay, yep.
Yeah. And he was like, I love the product. And
Is he in his war room? Just
he
like,
was.
yeah.
He was. Yeah. The first time we went on Zoom with him, because we had conversations like through his business partners, but first time we went on Zoom with him, it was just like the Zoom said Dana White, and then he just rolls in like a second late and just sits down and goes, "What's up, boys?" And he's just like he's just a good dude.
So chill.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's a good dude. And so then just talked to him for a while, and then months later we end up striking the deal with the UFC.
Wow.
Because a lot of the UFC team, they're awesome too. Like,
yeah.
The entire entity from top to bottom, everyone we've talked to there, like, we're hell of a lot younger than them.
Yeah.
Hell of a lot smaller than them.
Yep.
And they love the product. They're just very easy to work with.
Yeah.
And they help bring us in, and we're like the platform that they provide. Like, their organization is growing like crazy too.
Right.
A lot of people don't realize that. Like, UFC is the fastest growing professional sports league in this country.
Whoa.
Because just MMA culture, like people getting into it and understanding it. It's not just like two people bare knuckles like in an alley.
Right.
It's like this whole production. Like it's art.
Right.
And you'll see it tomorrow.
I am so excited for that. This is I was going to keep this. I was going to roll in there all like, oh, this is so crazy. It's my first UFC event ever.
It's a lot of fun. The UFC, they put on a great show.
I've heard from Dana White's interviews, like, once you view, so we've done the whole, we're super close with like all the other sports organizations in New England, you know, with Patriots and Celtics and stuff. Allegedly, according to Dana White, who might be biased, once you go to one of these events, it like changes your perception on what sports can be, and you're hooked. Like, there's no like leaving here and be like, it was all right. I'm imagining like Braveheart, like, but in a ring, you know?
It's two people fighting each other.
Right.
Like, that's quite literally what it is.
Goosebumps, you saying that. It's awesome.
It's just really cool to watch. And I think what I enjoy about it versus other sports, and like, I'm a football guy. We were talking about it. Like, don't mean to brag, but I was decent at football.
Hello. Just two football guys here.
Back in the day. Yeah. But I think just watch the fact that it's like anything can happen at any moment.
Right.
Like, I think in a football game, when someone's like on their own 11, I mean, maybe you have like Derrick Henry bust one for 89 yards, but usually, like, all right, it's first down. Like, they're gonna try to gain 3, like, on the ground. UFC, literally, from the second you hear the first bell, it's on, and like, you can't look away.
I am so excited. This is gonna be holy hell.
It's a great card too.
Yeah. I'm seeing the billboards all over the city.
Oh yeah,
a lot of people are in town for this too. Like, that's what I'm noticing. This UFC like sports circus, if you will, pulls together all these entities from like tech to the influencer space to folks like yourself and product. And it seems like it's this like almost like revamped version of like some Great Gatsby, like 1920s, party.
Put it. Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, because it's so scarce.
Yeah.
It's the best of the best in one organization.
Right.
And it's only once a weekend.
Right.
One match, one card in one city. So it's very like now, like we have people reaching out to, like my dad. I was with my parents last night. One of my dad's friends asked if I could get him tickets.
Oh, wow.
And I wish we couldn't, unfortunately, but it's just like, it's something that it's so scarce where now like everyone wants to see it. Everyone wants to be part of it. You got to experience it though.
Right.
Like even a fight night, like so they have their pay-per-view fights and their fight night fights.
Yep.
Like I was in Nashville a few weeks ago at the event, and it's just like even like the prelims, like these dudes are just brawling.
Yeah,
and it's awesome.
Oh, I am so excited for that. For that partnership with Slate in the UFC, what is it? How important is not only to have a great product that I guess it really helps that Dana White loves it himself, and I assume was using it prior to this deal.
Correct.
Mixed with like clean brand image. I'm always fascinated about like, not only like, okay, it'd be one thing if you guys just knew, Dana White personally or his assistant that got you in the room.
Right.
I'm assuming it's a mixture of great product mixed with people who actually enjoy using the product and the product itself is a disruptor in the industry. Is that like...
I don't want to speak for them, but like think about partnership deals you do.
Yeah.
Like you are building your brand through your partners. Even if it's someone that's a crumb in the pie.
Right.
Like those crumbs add up.
Totally.
And so I think part of the thing for us was we are like passionate about what we're building. We want to be the protein drink brand of sports and fitness. Like that is our vision. Like it started as like I was saying earlier to someone, usually when you start a business, you think you're solving a problem. And then as time goes on, you realize that there's a much bigger problem that needs solving. When you think about sports right now, you think about hydration products.
Right.
Because they crank. But there's a direct correlation between fitness and sports and protein.
Right.
Like fueling. But there isn't really a brand that dominates that space right now.
Right.
And a lot of them have artificial ingredients. They're in plastic bottles. So we're a plastic neutral business. So every pound of plastic we use, which is just our pallet wraps and our case wraps, we remove a pound of plastic from the world.
Wow, really?
So that's like our mission. What we say our mission is stronger people, stronger planet. High protein, don't add any plastic to the world. And like the UFC, again, I don't want to speak for them, but like I think that's something that excited them. That's something that excites everyone. Like everyone has an ESG mission right now.
Yeah.
And they should, because last month was the hottest month in the history of ever. And so if they can partner with brands, if anyone can partner with a brand that's at least trying to help, that's something that absolutely helps. Those companies.
When is the best time to drink Slate? Like I know you said you drain 2 a day. I myself continue despite the accusations from my twin that were false. Colleen. Rat bastard. I also am draining like 2. I'll like have one in the morning, post workout. Like nutrition wise, when's the best time to suck down a
not
Slate?
A nutritionist, not a physician.
Right.
Like that. This is when I do it. So I drink, I intermittent fast kind of unintentionally.
Yep.
So I just have black coffee in the morning and then I eat lunch at like noon, but I drink a mocha latte or vanilla latte at 3 p.m.
Gotcha.
So that's like, I drink a coffee at 3 and then after I work, I'm a night exerciser.
Oh, so here we go.
6 to 7 p.m. Monday through Thursday. And then on the weekends, it's a crapshoot, but like, that's my time. Like if Josh calls me between 6 and 7, it's an emergency. Like he knows. Like that's my time. That's my gym time. So then when I come back from the gym is when I'll have one as a post workout.
Gotcha. Okay. I love that.
See, that's me. But a lot of people, so like on our website, we have a post purchase survey and a large percentage of people use it as a breakfast replacement. So like Slate and a banana or something, because it's 20 grams of protein.
Right.
So it can also, and because it's liquid, like a lot of people, when they think of protein, they think of bars. But when you are creating a protein bar, like everything that you eat is solid, right? When you're drinking a Slate, like a high percentage of this is just water, which is no calories.
Right.
The equivalent to no calories with food is just air.
Right.
And you're not eating air. So that's why you think of like Halo Top ice cream. It had less calories in a pint because it had more air than Ben & Jerry's. But the thing, and so that's when Doug, he's actually talked about this on podcasts. When he first started Halo Top, he tried to put water in there, but it would freeze and like taste crappy.
Oh, right.
So that's when they were like, all right, let's put air in it. And that was kind of the unlock. So anything you see that's food that's the same size as something else with less calories, it's either water or air.
Added air.
It's water or air.
Wow.
But so for us, because we can put water in this, it can be more mass because
Right.
water actually has mass. And that's why this only has 100 120 calories and a protein bar has 190 to 220.
We need like a bomb sound effect. That was some.
So because there are a lot of people out there, and again, not a nutritionist, but there are a lot of people out there that say don't drink your calories.
Right,
But
right.
the percentage of protein per calorie in liquids, statistically, is higher.
Right.
Because you're able to add water into something. Like there are drinks out there with 50, 60 grams of protein. Like we're not that high, but those like are probably 70 to 90% just protein. And
Right.
like protein powder is quite literally powdered protein. Like that's what it is. And so you mix that with water, you're getting 100% of your calories from protein.
Yeah. See, these are great for me in the morning because I'm like you, like I don't really have the appetite first thing when I wake up, you know? But I'll work out in the morning.
Okay.
So I can't.
What time?
Normally like I try to get to the gym at 7.
Okay.
I'm up at like 6:15, 6:30.
Sounds like a brag.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Did you tee me up for that one? Don't want to brag here. I'm out of bed by like 6:30.
This guy wakes up early.
6:45. Is that the worst when people say that? Oh God. Edit that out, Hurley. Good Lord.
No, let it ride. Let it ride.
See, because I'm like a diehard Jocko guy.
Okay.
He's a 4:30 a.m.er. And I'm like, okay, hold on. I'm trying to have kids one day. That sounds like it could kill somebody, you know? Like,
What's the earliest like in your routine ever you woke up?
definitely back in the day for sports, you'd have to be in the gym for 5, which was ridiculous.
Very early.
Yeah, I can't even see straight. And you're deadlifting, you know?
I remember high school, we would have, because I was a captain of my football team.
Whoa.
Don't mean to brag.
Don't brag.
But we would have morning, in the spring, we would have morning lifts from like 5:30 to 6:30 or 5:30 to 7. And then at night, like it would have like a baseball game. And like thinking about doing that and then going to school, of course.
Right.
Thinking about doing that right now, waking up, lifting in the morning, going to high school, then having getting on a bus, driving to Weymouth, playing a baseball game, getting back like at 9 p.m. and driving home.
Oh.
Like, that sounds terrible.
I was having this conversation with Ashley, my fiance. In high school, our days, like similar structure, were so much longer
Crazy.
and packed with shit.
Yeah.
Like pre-workout, 6 hours of school, practice and or game. And if it's a away game, forget about it. Like
It's insane.
then you're back up the next day to do it all over again.
It's insane. And also I think with that, it was so hard to create a routine, which you like,
Yeah.
it sounds like you have a routine. Like I'm
Totally.
a big routine guy. Like
Yep.
I'll eat and drink the same thing at the same time every day, basically.
Oh,
during the
wow.
weekdays.
Yeah, I like that.
Like sometimes the meals change, but like same size, like I just don't want to have to think about it.
Yeah.
And thinking about that in high school, like there's some games for baseball, for football where you go in and you're so tired.
Yeah.
And like thinking back, I was like, damn, if I just had like 8 hours of sleep every night,
Right.
man, I could have got a league.
Be good to go. Yeah. Slowly getting a 3-point stance. You're
Right.
like, oh, God.
Like I just want to take a nap.
About to get lit up.
Yeah,
I'm
like-
packed with Slim Jims and Jolly Ranchers.
Seriously, we would get like in Wellesley. There's a place called Linden, like the Linden store, and we would just
yeah.
get like massive subs. Like we
Yeah.
have a Friday night game, and just get massive subs at like 3:00. It's definitely not what you should be doing. before
Nothing
the
like an
football game.
Italian sub before.
Seriously.
60 minutes of activity.
It's crazy, but
Oh, I'm always fascinated on not only the triumphs, but then also kind of the pitfalls. What's some of the hardest moments you guys have while building Slate?
yeah. I mean, there still have a ton. Still,
Yeah.
like there's so many.
Is it still a lot of like hand-to-hand combat of like,
Oh yeah. Josh and I are prepared for that never to end.
Yeah.
Like it's just like you're competing with people in the world that have more money than everyone else.
Right.
And like, especially as a beverage, like you think of how many beverages sell through on the shelf. Like say we're selling like a case a week per flavor at a retailer.
Yeah.
So 12 per week at a retailer. Think of how many products you have to ship in versus like a pasta sauce. Like let's say a pasta sauce is selling like a unit every 2 weeks. We're just shipping so many more cans or units into the store. And there's cooler checkouts that we fight for. We want to put displays up in stores. Like we are doing whatever, we literally say can by can. Like
Wow, yeah.
we want to build this business can by can. We got to get cans in hands. Like people got to cans in can.
this is a company,
like the line, but like cans in hands, liquid to lips, like whatever, whatever you want to call it. Like that is
you
how
do that on merch.
that's,
you know?
that's how you build
Cans
a
in
brand
hands.
though. Like, anything you build, like even with you, it's like you're grabbing eyeballs.
100%.
Right?
That's
like
100% correct.
You get eyes on your personal brand, on the brand that you're building. They talk to someone else.
Yep.
Like there are no shortcuts.
Yeah.
If there were, like the biggest 3 companies in the world would just do everything.
Yeah.
Like in tech, everyone's like, why doesn't Facebook do it? It's like, dude, you think Zuck cares about brand ambassadors? Right. like the dude is trying to create a metaverse.
Like a different planet.
Right.
But yeah.
So for us, it's we would need to win customers over one by one.
Yeah.
And
I like that.
We try to create ambassadors in human beings, whether it's investors, whether it's athlete partners, and obviously partnerships like UFC.
Right.
You get a ton of eyeballs on the brand. You get someone like Dana that loves the product, and when he talks about it, obviously like he's real. Like we only work with real ones.
That when I saw that video of him, what's it on his PJ, and I'm like, oh man, I was like, fucking Slate. I was like, let's go.
Josh and I saw that vid. We're like, of course he's on a PJ.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
But no, it was a great vid, and that's the idea. That's why, like, when someone just posts about it and like it's fake, waste of money.
Exactly right.
Like you gotta find people that enjoy the product, and that's why when we talk to people, we always send a case first, make sure they like the product, or if just ask like, have you tried it? Do you like it? And if the answer is like, it's not for me. Like we had, it's a funny story. I'm not going to mention the name, but we had one NFL player, absolute homie, like great dude.
Yeah.
So crazy. He goes, I love chocolate. I love milk. I just don't like chocolate milk. And I was like, bro, you got to see a doctor. Like what?
Yeah.
What? And he was like, he was like, I don't think the investment's right for me, and because of that, but like I'm a huge supporter of the brand, and we weren't like selling him hard. We're like, totally get it. Like if you don't love the product, if you're not gonna inject it into your everyday life, or at least like have it in the fridge and grab one every once in a while, it's just not someone that we think is going to add a lot of value to the business. Yeah. Where we'd rather like be homies with them, and like they're out with someone, they hear about it, like, oh, I know those dudes, or like I know that brand. But for us, like that is what's absolutely most important, is a genuine love for it. And if like there's still plenty of people out there that just don't like the product's not for them. Like we created Slate for people that want the product, not people that don't. Like early on, again, when people are vegan, appreciate how passionate they are about a diet. We are not making this product for people that are vegan. Yeah. And so like early on, like we'd have some people reach out being like, you should do this, you should do that. And it's like, there are already a ton of great vegan brands. Right. We are not those. Like, here are some great brand recommendations. Like, they have great products. Like we want the best tasting products we can. We found the best way to deliver great tasting, high protein drinks is by using real lactose-free dairy. Yeah. That doesn't hurt your stomach.
That was the biggest difference I noticed. I'm drinking 2 a day, and I'm like, wow, got a little more pep, I'm feeling good. Yeah. I'm waiting for that stomach ache to hit, because I know with other products, I'm like, I got probably 15, 30 minutes to like, I'm not feeling, como se dice, great, you know?
Yeah, and I'm sure the old fiance doesn't like the lactose.
No, it's a nice apartment. It's not the most spacious. So hello.
Exactly. Yeah. And so a lot of people don't know this, but the majority of the human race is somewhat lactose intolerant.
Really?
Yes. And so lactose is just a large sugar, so naturally found in milk. So we use a process called ultrafiltration. It's almost like a big Brita filter. Okay. Again, probably like the size of this room, and it's just metal pipes that has filters in it. Yep. And the milk swashes in and out, and it catches the lactose sugars. Wow. So the output is what's called ultra-filtered milk. We call it UF milk. Yep. And it also slightly condenses the milk, so per ounce, it's actually more dense in protein.
Wow, okay.
So that we think that UF, like ultrafiltration, is the future of all of dairy. Right. Because lower sugar, higher protein, nearly lactose-free. We had an enzyme to break down any lactose sugars that sneak through. Mm-hmm. And the lactose-free milk market is exploding. And again, a lot of people, people aren't bragging on Instagram about the fact that they're drinking lactose-free milk. Right. They're talking about almond, oat, like everything else, which is fine. Like, again, we love people that are passionate about brands.
But where is the nipple on an almond? You know, show me where the nipple is. I don't.
Even like the milk wars, like the like non-dairy versus dairy, we try to stay out of it. Right. We're like,
you're Switzerland. You're neutral.
Exactly. Yeah. We just want to create great products that people enjoy. Right. Like we are not here to go to bat for either industry. But there are also some real dairy products out there that call themselves non-dairy, because there's a lot of gray area in the market. Like you have,
because you could have like the milk protein,
which makes no effing sense. Like I'm literally in the dairy space, whether I like it or not. Like we don't use the word dairy a lot in our marketing because it's just not important to our brand. Like we we are a strength brand.
Right.
We sell strength through high protein chocolate milks and lattes. Like what's most important is our protein. But like even we think that some of the marketing that some of these dairy brands are using is just misleading, whether it's legal or not. Like if you are misleading a consumer, A, they're going to find out, and B, it's just bad practice. Like
I feel like it's the easiest way for a brand to die out.
Right.
Like someone's going to catch on.
Exactly. And look, like people get sued for everything these days. Like, like Red Bull giving you wings, like, did they deserve to get sued for that? I don't know. Like, I think like that's not misleading. That's just people being a-holes.
Right.
But if you're calling yourself non-dairy and you're using milk proteins, I believe that's misleading. And so like we technically could write that, but we decide not to.
Yeah.
Because it's just not what's right.
Right. Have you seen that kid on TikTok who will take any product and flip it into being healthy, and like he takes Reese's and flips it into being like, well, if it's dark chocolate, and he'll redo all the packaging.
Oh, that's great. I haven't seen that.
I'll have to send you them.
Yeah,
they are, and he'll go through like Reese's was the most recent one that like exploded because he changes the packaging to like white, and the Reese's this dark chocolate, which is going to give you protein and blah blah blah.
There you go.
But he's just showing how easy it is to stay within that. That must drive you nuts, like that gray space that brands play.
I mean, we try to stay in our lane. Like even on social, like people do the ads like us versus them. I think we did it once for like 3 days, and we were like, it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah,
like we try to stay in our lane. Like we see what competition's doing. It's on shelf. It's us versus them.
Right.
But at the end of the day, if we think we can solve our own problems, then we'll continue to grow. And we don't make decisions in our business based on what other people are doing. We make them based on what we're seeing with our brand and what we're seeing in the market.
Right.
And so for us, if someone comes out with something, like there have already been 2 brands that have like tried or are trying to knock us off, which is going to happen.
Really?
Yeah. And at the end of the day, like shake your hand, good. Like I'll shake your hand and good luck.
Yep.
Like let's go. But for us, we try to stay in our lane and just continue to make our products better.
Yeah.
And so when someone creates something like Slate, we can continue to make our products better and better.
See, I feel like that is so refreshing to hear. I'm always interested in like the jockey of the company, like who's like running the horse, if you will. And to take the approach that a lot of the greats will take, like you watch the not 30 for 30. What was the thing with Michael Jordan on yes.
Great.
Where like
Great
he
doc.
just puts it's him versus him.
Yeah.
And then I love the Michael Phelps one. There's one, it was the year he won like the 7 or 8 gold medals.
Okay.
And it's him doing the butterfly. He's just breaking the water and he's looking dead straight ahead. And this guy that lost by
it's like looking to the side.
is looking right at him. And to your point, like there's going to be knockoffs, but we're just going to throw the horse blinders on, full steam ahead.
You got to listen to the market, of course.
Right.
Like you got to like see what everyone else is doing. If someone's doing something that's absolutely crushing it, like find out why.
Yeah.
But like we're not going to try to box people out. Like if you have a great product or great products and you have a great brand, people will buy your stuff.
Yeah.
At that point, it's marketing and sales. It's how do people find out about it, and are they finding about it in the right way? And then is it accessible?
Right.
So some brands, like I think that's what gets lost with a lot of people too, is like you have brands out there like Athletic Greens, great brand, valued at like 1.2 billion.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure they're still all e-commerce. So like that's
Really?
like you can be all e-commerce, or like for us, we sell in retail doors. We're mostly retail at this point. We still have an e-commerce business, but like you said,
That shipping's got to be.
drinks ain't light. Drinks ain't light. So we do have a pretty big e-commerce business, but like there's so many different paths. Like you could start with gyms, you could start with C-store, you could start with grocery, you could start with club, like you can go e-commerce. Like there's so many different places to sell. And so I think a lot of times early on, you just want to sell, like just sell. And then as you grow, you're like, what is our strategy? Like how can we build a sales strategy that partners with our marketing strategy?
Right.
Like we want to make sure we're hitting our consumer where they're looking for something like Slate.
Yeah.
Like I know we were joking about it earlier, like we're not trying to sell into like nightclubs and like bars. Like, would that be fun? Yeah, but like would the product turn? Probably not.
Yeah, right.
But like Red Bull, they're crushing up cans outside clubs when they're not even there, throwing it on the ground. So people associate Red Bull with nightclubs and they throw fridges and like, and they create the
crazy marketing.
It was fucking genius. Like one of the best companies ever.
Yeah.
Like just for the longest time, one product. They owned everything. They owned their distribution. Just sell it everywhere.
Which having you guys, it's gonna sound crazy. When I go out, especially now, like if we go out, it depends on the group I'm with. But some nights it's a very casual night out, and I'm a big Moscow Mule guy, and I'm like, oh man, I don't even know if I have one, I'm gonna have two, and that's gonna lead to three. It's like I almost wish there was like a like a Pedialyte option, but like Slate, hello, there could be. Fair. Granted, a product category of one person is dangerous. A test pool of one is dangerous.
Like everyone's got an opinion. Everyone has products they want. But I think that's why I think the mocktail industry and like the non-alc industry, like you have athletic brewing that I think KDP, Keurig Dr. Pepper, just bought a piece of them or invested a bunch in there. And I think that's the vision for that industry is not only to sell it into liquor stores, but also to bars and clubs. So. But no, I agree. I would love at some point something hydrating that's not just soda water.
Right, 100%.
The fact that we both have that problem, someone's going to do it.
See?
So there you go. There's an idea.
There's a market for it. Boom.
Go. Bang.
Not going to brag if someone takes that. We came up with it first.
We'll go.
So, yeah. What are we thinking long term? And this I heard this forever ago. When starting a company, you should look backwards first, meaning you should look at your exit strategy. What are and then I hear people like tearing that, like, so I'm always fascinated, like back to the jockey, like how you think internally. When you started this company, I know it was like a win would be our stomachs don't hurt. Mm-hmm. We look great, and there's a product that we love. Mm-hmm. Do you have an exit strategy in mind? Like, is there an exit down the road that for the right number you would do it or?
Yeah. So typically what Josh, my co-founder, and I believe is that a company typically gets large enough where they're no longer a products and marketing company, they become a distribution company. They become a distribution company, right?
Wow.
So once you get big enough and you've proven out your brand, it fits in the market. Brand market fit. Brand fits in the market.
Yeah.
Product market fit. Product fits in the market. You're in enough doors where there's validity that everyone wants it. Then it's all about distribution.
Right.
So a lot of these companies that you see get scooped up for whatever the price, like hundreds of millions, billions, whatever, it's because they partner with someone that can help with distribution. They can help make it bigger. They can take what you've created and make it bigger.
Right.
So in terms of exit strategy, it's public that we've raised $23 million.
Right.
So we've always talked.
Amazing.
We've talked about it, like exit strategy, but for us, I really do believe like we're so hyper focused on just getting to the next level, like the next place, growing the doors, velocities in stores, building out the team properly.
Right.
Great partnerships. Like for us, it's something that we'll talk about every once in a while, but we aren't building the brand to get bought by a certain person.
Right.
We just want a great business.
Yeah.
And I think that some of these companies that grow very quickly, some of them, they crush it. Like their strategy is like hit the ground running, let's go. Like how fast can we grow to $100 million brand?
Right.
How fast can we go to $1 billion? For us, our strategy is we want to continue to grow. Like every year to date, we've grown 100% year over year.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So we're going to be 4 in November. So November 2023 will be 4 years old.
Yeah.
So
with 100% year over year growth
every year.
Ooh,
at least.
wow.
So it's been great growth, but also we don't want to grow too fast where we're dependent on too much more money coming in. If we don't raise it, then the company just kind of crumbles.
Right.
So it's all about finding that growth speed.
Yeah.
So for us, it's something we talk about often. And Josh and myself is, do we want to grow faster?
Right.
But now we're kind of at that point where we have more, every month that goes by, we have more of a foundation.
Right.
Like they're just problems that just take time to fix. And as you grow, a lot of times problems get fixed. But if you grow too fast, those problems can just exacerbate.
Yeah.
So we just want to keep going. We just want to keep going.
When were you more nervous, when you raised your first couple of dollars and you were like, oh shit, we have other people's money now, like it's getting serious? Or flash to now, like 23 million raised, is there like a panic overload the more money that comes in?
I was just nervous in this moment with this.
Really?
Interview. No, I'm just kidding. I
was just like unbelievably cool, calm, and collected over there.
We, in terms of, I wouldn't say that we're nervous with the amount raised. I think that we raise money to deploy it towards things that will help the business grow.
Right.
And things can obviously go wrong, but we have so many great people around us that have invested in the business, and we have people like a great team, and we just, I wouldn't call it nerves. I would just say like it's our lives.
Yeah.
And when something has to get done, you just got to fix it. And a lot of what we do, what Josh and I do, is convince people to work with us and put out fires.
Right.
Like that's what we do. That. And then in between that, we're just grinding. But like our team is our heartbeat.
Yeah.
Like the people, like obviously like I'm talking on a podcast, Josh goes on podcasts. Yep. Like we're more like kind of the faces of the brand. But the people on the team are the ones that make it turn.
Right.
Like, and they're all just savages. Like,
how many is on the, what's the team
40.
consist of? 40 people.
40 people.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah. And so we have Like our head of ops, Justin, is just he's from Revere. Like he's an animal.
Yep.
Like just gets like fully tatted.
Does
like,
he have that thick?
Oh yeah, you'll meet him. You'll meet him.
Perfect.
Yeah, no, he's great, and he just like gets shit done.
Yeah.
Like, he and ops on our ops team is also Dwight, and then Mike, our VP of sales, Todd, our director of finance, and Ron, obviously, who I talked about, and Anna, who runs partnerships, and then our field team are just like animals. They literally go store to store.
Do they really?
Full
wow.
time, and they do such a great job, and it's just finding ways to help build within the four walls of the store,
Right.
Because it's all about turns on shelf.
Yeah.
Like, how do you drive more scans to the register?
Yeah, I love
What
that.
like you got to be respectful to the store managers, and you got to work with them,
Right.
And a lot of times it can be difficult, but whatever we can do to help drive cans, and while still being respectful to the stores and
Right.
following their rules. Like that's what it's all about. That's the name of the game.
Right. I love that. Doing these like I've like weaned off them a bit, but early days of social doing these like hyped up morning alarms, I for whatever reason attracted a lot of these like soul entrepreneurs. So now in my DMs I have a lot of like young business guys and girls. So selfishly for them, what would be your 3 pieces of advice for those entrepreneurs who are kind of just getting their start? You know, I like the most common DMs that I get are like, they're working a full day, a day job, full 9 to 5.
Okay.
They have this side hustle passion that they love. They live, sleep, and breathe it. They're now about to cross the chasm of going full time into that.
Okay.
But they're like petrified.
Okay.
So they watch these little morning alarms and get all like hyped up.
Okay.
So I'm always
Yeah.
for a guy who's like really in the trenches like yourself, and to see where you've come to now, you know, would be your 3 pieces of advice to them.
So first off, I would say you want to validate the market. I think that often when people go into a venture, there are a lot of very cool ideas, but you have to find out. Usually, like it's just like we started by Googling it, and we looked at like the chocolate milk market was like 1.5 bill.
Wow.
But like the RTD protein shake market was like 15, and the RTD coffee market was like 25.
Right.
All bills.
Ready to drink for those.
Yeah,
listening back home.
ready to
Yep.
drink. And that's when we're like, all right, these are huge markets, and they're growing at an 8% CAGR, which is a compound annual growth rate. So they're growing 8% year over year. So we have 2 markets where if you stack them, it's a $40 billion market that are growing collectively at an 8% CAGR year over year growth.
Right.
So then we're like, all right, there's a market for this. So if you're creating something super niche that is very specific, look, it could be a great like lifestyle brand. Don't
Right.
like it could be a small shop, like, and that's great. There are people that absolutely crush it.
Yeah.
Just having a small business. It's something very niche. But if you want a high growth startup, which is just what Josh and I are kind of like addicted to.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
we want to be the biggest brand in the world. Like that's
go.
it's just fun. It's
Yep.
just fun like to try to get to the next step. If you want that, you got to make sure that there's a market for it, and it's a growing market, because if you look at some like markets that might be, I don't know, call it like 400 million, right? And it's dominated by one player and it's kind of plateaued or it's declining. Does that market, like, does the consumers that actually purchase from that market need a new product? Like,
Right.
why is the market declining? Like, even when we started Slate, the milk market, like the last 2 years had been declining.
Right.
And so everyone would be like, oh, milk's declining. But if you looked at it, it was all because of skim. For what, like, no one, whole milk was shooting up, but skim was dropping faster, because it was like when keto,
Gotcha.
it's when people were like eating sticks of butter and like freaking like snorting cream cheese
Yeah,
or whatever. Like whatever they could do for more fats.
Yep.
And that's why we like broke it down. We're like, all right, like milk isn't dying. Skim milk is anchoring the entire milk market. So even though we're real dairy, we'll be all right. And the lactose-free milk market, I don't know what it is right now, but at the time it was probably like less than $1 billion, but it was growing like 20% CAGR.
Wow.
Like it was exploding. And so that's why, all right, that's why you kind of got to frame it in your head, where if you're going to tell someone, even if you were like going to ask someone to give you $1,000, could you sell them a story that they would want to give you $1,000? So that would be number one, is like
Yep.
make sure that
I love that.
it's a growing market,
Yeah.
and the market's big enough where there's enough to attack it. Number 2 piece of advice is if you're going to be at a place where you have a fork in the road, you got to go. Like you got to move.
Like you have to pick
Like, you
one or
have
the
to
other. You're saying.
just if you stand there, look, you got to analyze.
Yep.
And you got to have a decision to make. And it might be the name of the brand. It
Right.
might be like the positioning. It might be the products themselves. Like maybe you could have a little bit of sugar and it won't taste as good, or like whatever. Like there are
Right.
just pieces there. If you just stand there for too long, you'll never make a decision. You'll never get going.
Right.
So it's better to move and be wrong than it is to stay and not do anything. Because chances are both of those paths probably you'll get effed.
Right.
Like something's going to go wrong on both paths. So again, it's not just like not being patient, moving too quickly. Like you still got to be patient, but also like if you feel like you're not going to learn anything else, like just go.
Yeah, I like that. That's back to your chips thing.
That
Put all
is.
your chips on a board and
Just go.
I meant to steal that. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, like and again, like Josh and I, very opinionated people. Like we always say, is we're not short of opinions. Like a business is basically just ideas and opinions.
Yep,
Like it starts
right.
with an idea, and then you have an opinion on something.
Right.
But that's number 2. Number
God, I love
3. I would say that if you have a vision, it's okay to be stubborn about it. I'm known to be kind of a stubborn a-hole.
Like to not pander to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
Because just because someone did it right 20 years ago or did it well 20 years ago, man, the world's changing.
Right.
Like just because someone had success in the industry 20 years ago, like listen to their opinion. But I feel like this is the stupidest thing ever. We had an investor early on that told us marketing doesn't mean shit. It's all about sales. Basically, you guys are dumb heads. And
Is this why you said you have a stupid face? Is this where this came from? This one guy.
No, he's actually way shorter than I am. So.
Oh, here we go. Boom.
No, and then there was like years later he like was thinking about investing and we just didn't talk to him. Like it just wasn't the right fit for our brand.
Right.
But it's okay if you have a vision for something, even if people that are quote unquote smarter than you don't see it and think it's dumb. It's okay to be stubborn, like be respectful.
I love that.
But like, I mean, it was basically us on Shark Tank. We just sat there and nodded our heads and got verbally attacked, but we deserved it. We went in with a valuation that they didn't like, and it was like didn't have a project, totally fine. But just because like the shark, whether it's sharks, whether it's an investor, whether it's a person that's a billionaire, just because they don't see it doesn't mean it's wrong.
Right.
Now, if 95 out of 100 people don't see it, maybe you got to change the vision.
Then the market's telling you something.
Probably.
Yeah.
But if one rich person says it, like be stubborn about what you want to change. Cause like if people are making a jump to start a business, it's probably to solve a problem.
Right.
It could be there's no yoga studio within 8 miles. It could be to save someone time. It could be something very simple, but every business is just solving a problem at the end of the day. And I think that if you need that problem solved, find out if other people do too. And even if rich investor doesn't mean there aren't other people like you.
Right. God, we got to get that bomb sound effect. Business facts right there. That was really good.
Thanks, dude.
Wow.
We've learned from people smarter than us.
Yeah.
And
that's the way to do it.
I think one of the other things the co-founder of Drizzly, Nick Rellis, is an investor and a friend now.
Yep.
And one of the first things he ever said to us was, "Is this your first or your last? Like your first or your last business?" And we're like, "I don't know." He's like, "Well, like, do you think you're going to create multiple businesses?" And we're like, "Honestly, like we do Slate forever, but like probably our first."
Right.
Because we already done another. Both of us had already done another. And he's like, always remember that. Like at the end of the day, like you guys like got to have each other's backs. Like at the end, like you guys are co-founders.
Yeah.
And I think that your relationship with your business partner is just as important, if not more important, than the business itself.
Right.
And
huge.
It's everything. And
Yeah.
so like Josh is my guy.
Right.
Like literally he's my guy. Like
He's in town, right?
He lives in Boston.
Oh, let's go. Here we go.
He
Because
lives in
you're in
Brooklyn.
New York now,
I live
right?
in New York. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, big New York guy now.
I was going to say, here we go. Wow. Excuse me.
It
Moved
was-
out of Boston, small town for the Big Apple.
Boston is home for me though. Will
Okay,
always
yep.
be like my home. Like I think of Boston as home, but
Yep.
good to be in New York for a little while for me. Not like it's been helpful for business.
Yeah. Yeah. Hell yeah.
But my relationship with Josh is literally like my relationship with him comes first.
Yeah.
Always.
See, that's
no matter
huge.
what.
Yeah.
And even if we disagree on something, we hash it out until we agree. So like if you have a co-founder, picking your co-founder is probably is like the most important thing in business.
I like that. I think a piece that's often overlooked. People go in business with like family or friends just because they're family or friends and not,
It's got to be the right person.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Parting question for you.
Okay.
You just signed with the UFC,
did.
which is huge. This question is like damn near inappropriate to ask.
Okay.
What is next for Slate?
Oh man, the UFC obviously great for the
Insane.
brand, huge. We want to just continue growing stores, velocities, partners. We have like some other partners that we're announcing soon that are going to be signing soon.
Yep.
And it's literally just, again, kind of cliche, but it's can by can.
Right.
It's like the UFC was the biggest partnership announcement, and of course, like that got the most press,
Right,
of course, and
right.
it should have.
Yeah.
It was our biggest partnership, but there are a lot of things behind the scenes where like we're hammering out. And again, the store launches like this fall. We're doing a rotation with a club retailer, which is going to be huge for us.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, it's not our first, but it's going to be our biggest one, and it's literally just finding opportunities, closing them, and making sure they go well.
Yeah.
Like supporting them well, and like even
Yep.
the UFC thing, it's making sure that we are carrying our weight, which Anna and Ron on our team just absolutely crush, and Jen, our designer,
Right.
who does all the designs, like. Sometimes I know she's up late and
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
getting it done, and it's because she just like wants to contribute to what's best for the team.
Right. Well, all that hard work, I just want to say thank you so much. I know we talked about this pre-air, which I'll leave the name out, but I was on other products, you know, and for me to, in the internet community, all day long, you're just getting like flooded with products. And like, I'm a guy I'm not a big reader, you know? So
Do you know how?
the pieces are there. Yeah.
Okay.
I did the whole hooked on phonics, never got hooked, you know,
Okay.
that whole thing.
Gotcha.
To use your product day to day and to have it actually have results,
Yeah.
and most importantly, like my internal side,
yeah.
like not, you know,
Yeah.
is amazing. So those
that.
I'm so pumped you and I got to meet and jam. And more importantly, I'm so excited you guys crushed this product for folks like me who like quite literally I was thinking coming into this, I was like, wow, if Slate wasn't a thing, what would be my, like, I call it my sidearm. Like, what if I'm going in the morning and driving somewhere or working out, like that Slate's my sidearm.
Yeah.
What would be my sidearm? And I don't know if I have a replacement for that.
Right.
Like I think I do. I'd revert back to probably my old roots, if you're catching my drift.
I do.
Instant stomach ache, you know, and we'll just fight through that day to day. But
No, I appreciate that, and I think the vision, like when we started, it was just making a healthy chocolate milk.
Yeah.
Now it's for every can of Slate that we sell, or someone buys a Slate over something artificial in a plastic bottle, or something that's high in sugar in a plastic bottle. We are improving their diet, and we are improving the planet.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really drives our team. Is
I love
like
that.
like again, kind of broy, like some of our team, it's young and like
Yep.
we're flying around talking about a million things, but to our core, I think part of the reason everyone on our team is so driven is because every time a Slate is consumed versus competition, it is quite literally better for people's bodies
Yeah.
and better for the planet. And so if we grow it bigger, we're going to make people healthier and make the planet healthier.
100%.
And that's what's fun.
Yeah.
That's what makes it so fun.
I am a living testimony of that. So thank you to you and the team. That is
Of course, dude. Appreciate
life
the
changing.
support. And
Literally life changing.
every single person that drinks Slate, again, whether they're like a partner, whether they're a family member, whomever it is that talks about it, it's how you grow a brand.
Yeah.
Like again, there
Yep.
are no shortcuts in this world.
Yep,
Like
it's
it's
word of mouth.
person by person, it's word of mouth. It's trying the product, and that's what we're going to continue to do.
Yeah. Where can people find you, not only on social for you guys and you personally as well, but then also product wise, like in store?
At Slate Milk.
Yep.
And DM us.
Okay.
Like we're great about giving discount codes.
Oh,
So we love
here
to
we
give
go.
Yeah, so Amara and Morgan run our Instagram. They work for our team. They're
Yep.
all stars
The
too.
promo team.
And they're like I'll get a DM. Like I'll look at the Slate account every once in a while, and it'll be like a Saturday at noon, and Amara and Morgan are just on there, just DMing people back.
Wow.
Like we don't ask for it. They, like that's what it takes.
They're in it. Yeah.
That's awesome. But at Slate Milk on Instagram, slatemilk.com. We are in probably about 12, 13,000 stores.
Wow.
Creeping up to 15,000 soon. So most major retailers on the East Coast, in Boston specifically, we're in Stop and Shop, we're in Market Basket, we're in Wegmans, we're in Whole Foods,
Star Market, I saw.
we're in Star
Yeah.
Market, we're in Roach Brothers. I know I'm missing a ton. Then down in Florida, we're in Publix, we're in Harris Teeter in the
Oh, wow.
Carolinas. We're in Giant Foods, Giant Martins, and then across the country, we're in all Albertson Safeway stores. And yeah, we're in some Walmarts
Yep.
along the East Coast too, so you can check out your local Walmart. But yeah, DM us.
Can you get it on your website as well?
Yeah.
You can order
Yep.
e-com?
E-com and Amazon.
Wow, look, you guys are really everywhere.
We're like you got to be accessible.
Yes.
The best
Yeah, that's a good way to
ability
put that.
is availability.
Yeah.
I just came up with that.
Hit me with that one more
The
time.
best let me try it again.
You're right.
The best ability is availability. I just came up with that. That's never been said before.
TM.
Yes, trademark that. Trademark that.
Yeah. Not gonna brag. Thank you so much for coming on.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Business legend. Thank you so much for your time here. Slate, I don't know, will probably inhabit Mars, I'm assuming, next after.
Yes, sir.
If you can inhabit the UFC, you can inhabit anywhere. Am I right?
Thanks for having me, dude.
Hell yeah, anytime, man.